Hi, Professor Wainaina here, your 5 minute teacher on education, childhood, youth, parenting, and all things school. Welcome. As parents, we often use comparison language when speaking to our children without even noticing. This language, though subtle, can have a lasting impact on a child's self-esteem, relationships with siblings and peers, and overall sense of self-worth. While overt comparisons like, "Why can't you be like your brother?" are easier to recognize, it's the more nuanced remarks that are harder to identify as comparisons and therefore more dangerous. These hidden comparisons often slip into daily conversations without parents realizing they are making comparisons. These subtle comparisons arise in the areas of behavior, responsibility, academics, and skills and abilities. Behavioral comparisons arise when parents might comment on one child's behavior in a way that subtly implies another child isn't measuring up. For example, saying, "Your friend is always so polite when she comes over," or "Your sister always shares her toys without being asked." It seems like harmless observations, but they carry the hidden message that your child is not as polite as their friend or as generous as their sister. The comparison may be unintentional, but children are quick to internalize these remarks. They begin to see their behavior as lacking, creating feelings of inadequacy and the sense that they need to act more like their friend or sibling to gain approval. Another subtle comparison can be found in how parents talk about responsibility. Often, some remarks about responsibility are intended to motivate, but they inadvertently compare one child's sense of duty to another's. You might say, "Your brother never needs reminders to do his homework," with the intention of encouraging the child to make more initiative. Yet, this statement sets up a standard the child must meet based on their siblings' actions. The underlying message is that they are less responsible because they need reminders. This kind of comparison can foster resentment between siblings and leave the child feeling they will never live up to the image of the responsible siblings. Academics, skills or abilities comparisons are another subtle yet damaging way parents unknowingly pit children against each other. You might say, "Your cousin didn't even need extra help in maths this year," thinking you're making a casual remark, or "I like how quickly your friends finishes their homework," not realizing the comparison that lies beneath the surface. For the child hearing this, the message is clear: I am not as smart because I need help. This comparison adds unnecessary pressure and may even discourage the child from asking for assistance when they need it, as they fear it will make them seem inferior. What makes this subtle comparison so dangerous is that they often go unnoticed, even though their effects accumulate over time. Like in situations of overt comparisons, children internalize these messages and begin to measure their worth by how they compare to others, rather than by their own individual strengths and progress. These comparisons can further create hostile competition between students, a recipe for disaster, especially in a family setting. To avoid using a subtle comparison language, it's important for you to focus on each child's individuality. Rather than praising one child in a way that may come off like a comparison to others, you should celebrate your child's unique strengths and progress. If you want to avoid comparison, especially hidden ones, the rule of the thumb when talking to your child is always highlight the specific effort or achievement the child has made and relate it to the child's own previous performance, not that of anyone else. This shifts focus from comparison to personal growth and allows children to feel valued for who they are and progress they are making, not for how they measure up to someone else. While we all know the dangers of comparison, we might be unknowingly comparing our children to others and causing them so much harm. This is why we should become sensitive to the more subtle forms of comparison. You may not always be alert, but to be always safe, remember the rule of the thumb. Always highlight the specific effort or achievement the child has made and relate it to the child's own previous performance, not that of anyone else, including the siblings. Thank you. See you in the next lesson.